Have you ever heard of a machine so terrifying it could end the world all on its own? It's not science fiction. It's a real system built during the Cold War. It's called Perimeter, but the West gave it a much more chilling name, the Dead Hand. Imagine this. It's the height of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a tense standoff, their nuclear arsenals pointed at each other. Both sides live under the constant fear of a surprise attack, a decapitation strike that could wipe out their leadership before they even have a chance to retaliate. Soviet military strategists were obsessed with this problem. What if Moscow was vaporized in a flash? What if the premier and the top generals were gone? Who would give the order to strike back? Without a clear chain of command, the mighty Soviet nuclear force could be rendered useless. This was the nightmare scenario that led to the creation of one of history's most secretive and frightening automated systems. The Soviets needed a fail-safe, a system that guaranteed retaliation even if every single human leader was dead. Their solution was Perimeter. The basic idea was shockingly simple, yet terrifyingly complex to implement. Perimeter was designed to be a fully automatic, and later semi-automatic, command and control system for their nuclear forces. Its job was to launch a full-scale retaliatory strike against the enemy, even with no one left to give the order. Think of it as a doomsday machine, a last resort to ensure that if the Soviet Union went down, it would take its enemies with it. The system was shrouded in secrecy for decades. Even within the Soviet military, only a handful of top-tier personnel knew of its existence. Its purpose was not just to retaliate, but to deter. The hope was that the mere possibility of such a system would make a first strike unthinkable for the United States. So how did this dead hand actually work? The system was designed to lie dormant during peacetime, constantly listening and monitoring. It was connected to a network of seismic, radiation, and air pressure sensors scattered across the Soviet Union. Its brain was a complex computer system hidden deep underground in a hardened bunker, safe from a nuclear blast. The activation sequence was a chilling cascade of events. First, the system would need to be switched into a combat-ready mode by a top official. This wasn't something that was always on. It had to be deliberately armed during a crisis. Once armed, Perimeter would begin its vigil. It would check for a connection to the General Staff Command post. If that connection was live, the system did nothing, assuming human leaders were still in control. But if the connection went dead, things got serious. The system would then start looking for signs of a nuclear attack on Soviet soil. It would scan its network of sensors for telltale evidence, the seismic shock of nuclear detonations, spikes in radiation levels, and drastic changes in air pressure. This was the critical step. The system was designed to distinguish a real nuclear attack from, say, an earthquake or a conventional bombing raid. It needed to see multiple widespread nuclear signatures to proceed. If all these conditions were met, the connection to leadership was gone, and there was clear evidence of a massive nuclear attack. Perimeter would initiate its final terrifying protocol. It would assume the worst, that the leadership was gone and the country was under a full-scale nuclear assault. At that point, the dead hand would come to life. The system's final act was ingenious and horrifying. It wouldn't launch all the nukes at once. Instead, it would launch a handful of special command rockets. These rockets weren't armed with massive warheads meant for cities. Their payload was a powerful radio transmitter. As these rockets flew high over the vast expanse of the Soviet Union, they would broadcast a single pre-recorded launch command directly to all the nuclear missile silos, bomber bases, and submarines scattered across the country. Upon receiving this radio signal from the sky, every nuclear weapon in the Soviet arsenal that was part of the system would launch automatically. Thousands of missiles would lift off from their silos, bombers would scramble, and submarines would fire from beneath the waves. It would be an all-out, uncoordinated, but absolutely devastating retaliatory strike. The world would be plunged into a full-blown nuclear apocalypse, triggered by a machine that believed its creators were already dead. The existence of Perimeter was first revealed to the West in the early 1990s by a former Soviet military official who defected. The news sent shockwaves through the international community. For years, strategists had debated the fictional Doomsday machine from the movie Dr. Strangelove, never realizing that something so similar was actually real. The revelation raised a lot of uncomfortable questions. Was the system still active after the fall of the Soviet Union? Did Russia inherit this doomsday capability? The Russian government has been notoriously tight-lipped about the current status of Perimeter. While some officials have occasionally hinted that a modern equivalent exists, they've never confirmed the details. Most experts believe that Russia maintains some form of automated or semi-automated retaliatory system. The logic of deterrence that created Perimeter in the first place hasn't entirely disappeared. The fear of a decapitation strike is still a very real concern for nuclear powers. Modern versions are likely far more sophisticated. They probably incorporate advanced satellite communications, cyber warfare defenses, and more complex decision-making algorithms. The idea of a purely automatic system is something most analysts believe has been abandoned. Instead, the modern dead hand is likely a man-in-the-loop system. This means that even if the system detects an attack and recommends retaliation, it still requires authorization from a small group of surviving, pre-authorized duty officers located in deep, protected bunkers. This adds a crucial human element back into the final decision, preventing a purely machine-driven apocalypse. However, the fundamental concept remains. It's a system designed to guarantee that no first strike can ever be successful without ensuring the attacker's own total destruction. The story of the dead hand serves as a stark and powerful reminder of how close we came to annihilation during the Cold War. It's a testament to the extreme lengths both sides were willing to go to in the name of deterrence. It highlights the dangerous logic of mutually assured destruction, where the only way to feel safe is to build a weapon that could destroy everything. The idea that we trusted our survival to a complex web of sensors, computers, and pre-programmed commands is deeply unsettling. It forces us to confront the fragility of our world and the immense responsibility that comes with possessing nuclear weapons. The dead hand wasn't just a machine. It was a symbol of an era defined by fear, paranoia, and the ever-present shadow of the mushroom cloud. While the Cold War may be over, the legacy of systems like Perimeter lingers, a quiet but chilling reminder of the doomsday we narrowly avoided. Thank you for watching, and if you found this glimpse into the world's scariest machine fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into hidden history.